And welcome into week 18 of the Consistently Cashin podcast here at BigGuyFantasySports.com. I'm Colby Conway at Colby R. Conway over on X. No Ron this week as he gets a week 18 bye. Never heard of that. I guess he must be the 1 seed or something.
Yeah, he's packing it in for the week.
So I guess that makes me the 2 seed and Bob the 3 seed stepping in. We got to play in the opening round, aka week 18 for us here. So Bob, how's everything going for you?
Doing good. Congrats to you guys for winning the Kings Classic. I missed out again. I'm going to start changing my name to the Bills because I keep getting there, but I can't seem to win the damn thing. But still good. Still cool that got that far. Won some money, getting second in a couple of leagues. Second in the FSGAs. That got me $150. I think I get $300 out of the second place for the other one. So a little cash. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's all good.
Hey. There you go. Speaking of a little cash, we cashed last week. We did make 2 lineups because we wanted to experiment with a lineup with both CMC and Kyron. That one flopped, but the other lineup that we had did cash. So we're going to count that as a clutch game for us here. And there's no other way to say it, Bob. The week 18 slate is like no other.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I have no clue. Like it's a very interesting one. So if we look at it here, playing things out, Hurts and Prescott are the top price quarterbacks. Both teams need to win. I told you when we did the Prop It Like It's Hot podcast, which if you haven't listened to that yet, you want a little player prop action for the weekend, make sure you go check that out. But I am petrified of Dallas scoreboard watching and just hear me out. God forbid the Giants score twice right away. They get up 14-0. Dallas is up 28-0 at half. Play the odds. Maybe Philly doesn't come back. But does Dallas need to play anybody in the second half? But Colby, if Dallas is up 28-0 at halftime, Dak probably has 6,000 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. He could, but at 8,000, I don't know if I can do that.
It could also be 3 defensive touchdowns by the Cowboys returning interceptions.
Think about it. Think about it. If they're up 28-0 at a half and Dak has 150 passing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's not the ROI I want for 8,000.
No, exactly.
Why would I not go to, I don't know, Justin Fields, who I'm guaranteed 4 quarters from? Jared Goff is even kind of somewhat of a question mark. Like, Detroit's going to play their guys. That's what Dan Campbell said. Dan Campbell didn't say how long they are going to play their guys. And like Jordan Love, maybe him against, like looking at the quarterback position, I'm almost kind of settling in on someone that I know I'm getting 4 quarters from, as long as I can do it without sacrificing a lot of upside. And for me, I'm really, really liking Justin Fields.
No, you're right. And like you said, I don't know if you saw the Kyle Brandt rant the other day about, because he's a huge Bears fan. And he just pretty much went off on Justin Fields as a human being and said, this is your game of your lifetime.
Yeah.
You can either play this game, play it well, and be a Chicago Bear for the rest of your life, and they can build around you, or you're going to get dumped and you're going to get left go or whatever, traded, and they're going to start over and draft another quarterback with the number 1 pick. And so, it's hard to tell which Justin Fields shows up, but you would think that would be some incentive. He knows what he's getting into. He just has to perform. It's tough. I mean, you're right. There isn't much else out there. As you were saying with the Lions, I mean, the thing I liked is that they'll be the number 2 seed. Well, I guess it's both the Eagles and the Cowboys. So they're basically going to be a number 3 seed. They're really not playing for anything. I did like Goff, but yeah. The Packers have to win to get into the playoffs. If they lose, it's not a guaranteed. They're playing the Bears. The weather looks okay up in Green Bay. Jordan Love could be, but since it's not that much of a savings, what is it, $300?
Yeah, roughly
$500, $600. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think that Fields has to be the pick here to kind of pull this all together.
The other 2 I'll mention dropping down a little bit. Arizona's allowed I believe it's the 2nd most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks. I believe Seattle's playing to win, obviously, and Geno's put up some decent numbers, 17, 17, 33 in the last couple. So I think Geno's attractive at 6,100. And I like Tyrod Taylor. I mean, he's got his flaws, but I mean, 22 last week against the Rams. He only had 10 against Philly. I believe he came into that game late, though.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, 22 in a start. He can do a little bit with his legs. And when he came in, I mean, look, he was putting up decent numbers against Philly using his legs. And I don't know. The Giants are a very scrappy team right now. So I think if we really need to save money, I'm actually quite willing to go down to Tyrod Taylor at 5,300, if I'm being honest.
I mean, 33 degrees, 2% chance of snow. But I mean, that's typical East Coast weather.
And he's played in cold. He spent
rain.
career in Buffalo. So it's not like, he's not some California kid who's never played in cold coming to play, over here. So I think I'd be okay with Tyrod Taylor at 5,300.
Yeah. And if you're going to have a team that wants to play spoiler, it's going to be a team in your division. It's going to be a team in the East.
It's that little add of motivation.
Yeah. Like, you know what, let's screw with them. Let's make them work a little bit at it. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Last thing for the quarterbacks. Obviously, Mullins, 300 plus, multiple touchdowns, 400 plus, multiple touchdowns. I will highlight these two numbers here, but I won't call them out just because I don't want to jinx it. But at 5,100, Detroit secondary has been really bad the last.
Well, and again, in Detroit secondary really doesn't have much to play for, right? And the Vikings, I think they have to win, and that still only gives them a 15% chance to make the playoffs. So as you said before, and you did in the prop bets, you went for over 92.5 yards receiving for Justin Jefferson. That means Nick Mullins is throwing the ball a lot. And in this game where they're playing, it's in Detroit, but Detroit, and again, Dan Campbell's not going to let them just lay down and do nothing, but they're certainly going to do their best not to get hurt for this playoff run because they do have a very good team in the playoffs in the NFC. So, yeah, I mean, Nick Mullins isn't a terrible pick as well. Like I said, maybe we see where we fall out running back wise, wide receiver wise, if you want to leave Fields in there, and then we'll see how the rest flushes out. But at least we have some cheap options to possibly still pull off a solid team in putting some bigger potential stars in some of the other positions.
Absolutely do. Let's go over to running back then. Of the guys that are playing, Rachaad White is the most expensive one at 7,600. Go listen to Prop It Like It's Hot. You'll hear my affinity for Travis Etienne Jr. this week, but I actually don't love him for DFS purposes, actually. So I won't be paying the 7,300 from him there. Do have Breece Hall at 7,200, Barkley at 69, Jahmyr Gibbs. Pacheco scares the crap out of me this week. Austin Eckler and a couple of other dudes down in here. Are there any, oh gosh, if I could control this thing, running backs, let's say from Jahmyr Gibbs up, so 6,700 up, are any of these running backs worth the dollars tied to their name?
Well, I had mentioned potentially going with Rachaad White just because of the fact that, they're playing against Carolina. Carolina's 27th in giving up fantasy points to Tampa. They just played them a couple of weeks ago, week 13. Rachaad White, 21 carries, 89 yards, 2 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. So he had a nice game. I'm sorry, wrong one. 20 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown, 3 catches for 22. So a solid, probably 15-ish point game. Actually, a little more than that. About 18 or 19. So that's the only one that I really jumps out at me. Like you said, ETN's got potential, but again, they may not. It just depends on how that goes. But ETN would also be $300 cheaper than Rachaad White too. So if you feel a 20-point plus game out of ETN, it might be better to switch White with him.
I like Rachaad White more than ETN. If we're for DFS purposes, I think the upside and the ceiling is higher with Rachaad White. Soft run defense against Carolina. They have been better of late. I'll give him that. But White's just so involved in this Tampa Bay offense. It doesn't matter. So he's the top dog for me of the running backs here. So I think we'll be able to find a way to get him in there, especially if we go with one of those value QBs. We'll be swimming with money, and I think we'll be okay.
Right.
Let me scroll down a little bit here and see if I can come up with anybody else. Aaron Jones might be attractive because of AJ Dillon being ruled out, but it's really hard to run on Chicago. They've been really good, so I'm not really looking to Aaron Jones. I think we have to swallow the chalk this week, though, Bob. And I think how do you not play Zamir White?
Well, and that's the other guy I had in kind of prepping before our show today. I said, okay, Denver, Arizona, Indy. Well, Indy's a today game, so we can't use that one. And I went, oh, Zamir White against Denver at home. Yeah, that's almost a no-brainer at $6,000. So yeah, I'm definitely love that one.
Way too cheap. And actually, the nice thing is he's been fine on the ground, kind of what I'd expect. Maybe this 145 was a little bit more, but 6, 4, 11 targets in those 3 games too. That has been beautiful, especially with DraftKings scoring. Do you like Zeke? Because I actually like Zeke a good bit as well against the Jets, because he's just become the focal point of this offense. I mean,
he certainly has. 11, Jets are playing 5 for nothing, but their run defense has been, well, I guess their run defense hasn't been good. 26. It certainly has potential. Saves us, but it only saves us $100. I mean, I guess Zeke might be a good flex.
Zeke could go in the flex with White and White as our running backs.
Yeah, I could see Zeke being a flex if the money is there. Beyond that, I mean, everything else is a crapshoot.
And over the last 4 weeks too, the Jets have allowed the 6th most fantasy points per game. So I like that a good bit in terms of Zeke. Let's see if we go down a little bit more. I would love Khalil Herbert if he was playing, but question mark. Keep going down. I'll give Zach Charbonnet a nod because you can run all over Arizona, and I don't really trust that Kenneth Walker's fully healthy. I think he's healthy enough to play, but I don't know if he's fully healthy, and shoulder issues are always a little bit interesting. The whole thing with San Fran, McCaffrey's not playing. Elijah Mitchell's going to be involved. Jordan Mason here. I think I have other options that I can pay for someone who I know is going to get the workload rather than speculate between Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason for San Fran. Right. I just don't think we need to do it.
No,
that's just me.
I agree.
So, all right. I think I'm scrolling for nothing then as I get down here. Yep. I don't think we need to go anymore. Let's go over to wide receiver. And before I let you talk, I am going to throw my hat out there. Justin Jefferson at 8,500 is numero uno for me this week. I'm not even going to hide it. I told on the pod. I know you already said that I already said about Justin Jefferson receiving yards, but in his career against Detroit, he has owned them when he's traveled to Detroit. 133 yards, 182 yards, 223 yards overall against Detroit. He has 120 plus yards in 5 of his last 6 games against them. With Nick Mullins, anything is possible, both good and bad. So that's the moral there. But I love Justin Jefferson at 8,500. He's my slam dunk wide receiver 1.
Gotcha.
What else do you think there? Puka's interesting because it sounds like he's going to play, but I tweeted it out earlier in the week. They should just come out of the game with 5 screen passes to him right away. Let us get his 5 receptions and then get that man off the field. Get him the rookie record and then get him the hell off the field.
Right.
What about some of these top receivers for you? Anyone that catch your eye other than let me say it this way. Do you have any profound love for any of these receivers like I do Justin Jefferson in week 8?
Well, we've all seen the last few weeks. CeeDee Lamb is just lights out the number 1 receiver in fantasy purposes. But the question is how long do they play? But on the other hand, CeeDee Lamb could go 6 for 100 in 2 touchdowns in the first half and be great. But 9,300's a big price to pay. Amon-Ra, same thing. Might play half, might not. We did have the interesting. Denver's been pretty good against the pass. As I say, Devontae had a big week last week with in that game. So I would assume Debo's not playing. Tampa Bay. Jamar Chase. Cleveland is kind of set.
I'm wheels up with DK Metcalf and DJ Moore there at 7,200 and 7,000. I like the spots for both of those guys. And I think you can play them without the quarterbacks if need be, but you also have very logical stacks. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, and you're in a good spot there.
As you said, Fields needs to be the top quarterback that he is and prove it this week. And if he's going to do that, which we assume if we're going to put him as our quarterback this week, you have to believe he throws to DJ Moore 80% of the time. I know it's not that high, but you get the gist. Definitely one of those that you want to get in there if you can, price-wise.
I would like to play Calvin Ridley because Tennessee's secondary is bad. I'm a little skeptical on whether Trevor Lawrence is going to play or not, so I'm kind of up in the air on that. I will say from Jacksonville's side, if you are going to go there, Christian Kirk's coming back from IR and he's only $3,000. And when he plays, he's heavily involved. So he might be the free square, even if CJ Beathard is starting for them. So we may end up just throwing Christian Kirk in there for 3,000 because, 3,000, you want like 2 to 3x ROI. He can do 4 catches for 50 yards against the freaking Tennessee secondary. He can do that. Right. So I'm not worried there. Let me throw a couple of other value receivers out there for those that may need to save a little bit more money. Jacoby Myers is in a really good spot. Devontae Adams should see a good bit of Pat Surtain. And it just so happens, back in week 1, albeit with a different quarterback, Jacoby Myers, 9 for 81 and 2 touchdowns against Denver. So take a look at him there at that price point. Jordan Addison, you're okay going with him. I don't hate it. Brandon Cooks, whatever. I do like Greg Dortch a lot. He's been coming on strong of late with no Marquise Brown. Dortch is effectively the wide receiver 2 for them. So I like Greg Dortch. And then go listen to the Profit Like It's Hot podcast, and you will hear why Darius Slayton is in a good spot as well this week, because his upside is raised, or I should say his floor is raised as well as his ceiling with Tyrod Taylor under center. Deep play touchdown. That's what we're hoping for with him this week. Any other notes on the wide receiver position before we go to our beloved tight end spot?
I don't think, like you said, the only other one I thought was not a bad value at 6,100 was D-Hop. Had a nice week last week.
Incentive watch.
Huh?
Incentive. He's on incentive watch.
He's on incentive watch too. All right. Yep. So that was just one. I'm like, that's not bad price. 6,100. Had a nice week last week against Jacksonville in week 11, 4 for 59 with a touchdown. Like you said, I feel like they'll be throwing him the ball a lot. So that could be a good value there as well. So
fair enough. Let's head on over to tight end. A lot of big names, a lot of question marks surrounding them, though. Of the top price guys, the one that I know is playing the most is Trey McBride. He's the one I'm the most confident in terms of overall playing time. So love me some Trey McBride this week for sure. And I like, honestly, Darren Waller's probably my second favorite 4,700, even though it scares the crap out of me to use him in a DFS lineup.
I hear you.
That's where I'm at, though.
Yeah. No, like you said, Njoku's been on fire, but they don't need to do much this week. So maybe they'll scale back. Goddard had a decent week last week. He's only 5,100. Beyond when you get below that, it's kind
Tucker Kraft is interesting.
Yeah, Kraft's interesting. Tyler Conklin last week had almost 10 points. That's not a lot, but it's better than nothing.
It's not bad for tight end position, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
Tucker Kraft, I may have been sleeping on him. 4 straight double-digit days here on DraftKings, going up against. Look at the Green Bay receiving core. They're all hurt. They're all banged up. Or if they're all coming to the game questionable, he's the healthy one. He might be a really nice play
that's for 3,700. That's a hell of a deal. Yeah.
Michael Mayer's out. I believe Austin Hooper is the backup for them. You could go just because tight ends against Denver have been pretty good. But
yeah, right.
Pay the 500 and get to Tucker Kraft. I don't think you need to go down much past that. Anybody else? Yeah, I'm good. We're not going down there. We'll figure it out from there. Defense, I love Dallas. I don't know if I'm paying 4,100 for a defense. Any cheap defenses you have your eye on, or just any defense?
Well, as I mentioned, I was trying to figure as cheap as possible, and I'm like, well, can't do Washington, can't do the Giants. Cardinals against Seattle, maybe. I actually picked the Chargers at 2,800, playing at home against a completely benched Kansas City team. or the Rams against San Francisco with everybody on the bench. Those are the kind of things I kind of look at and go, well, they're playing against backups, and the Rams are playing for something, so might be a good thing that, so Rams at 2,600, Chargers at 2,800, Vikings at 2,700. Vikings have been averaging 7.8 fantasy points a game, which is actually pretty high for as low down as they are. And for a Denver or the Detroit team that has nothing to play for, may not be a bad idea. Raiders, and any of them down in there. I mean, I think just depends kind of like how much money is left when we're done with the rest of it.
That's what's going to happen. Whoever we have the money for, we'll figure out defense. So
yeah, right.
All right. So overall, who is one guy? We each get one guy we get to throw in here that's a non-negotiable. They're in the lineup. What one player for you is a non-essential? Got to have him. He's in our lineup. He will not be removed no matter what. Who is that one guy? Any position?
I'm going to go with Rachaad White. I just feel like that's a guy that, they're playing for something. Carolina's playing for nothing. He's been on fire lately, getting the touchdowns, getting the yards. Him or Zamir White, either one of those two are definitely one that I really like that I think needs to stay in.
Well, we're playing Zamir White anyway, so you don't got to worry about that. My one guy is Justin Jefferson. Right. Let's go ahead. Let's throw in the free square of Christian Kirk at 3,000 because that's the free square that we're going to have. So let's go another. So honestly, this last receiver spot. Oh, let's throw Zeke in the flex.
All right.
So basically, this last quarterback. Well, let's throw Kraft in at tight end. All right, so this last quarterback, if we get Fields at 72, that's about half our budget. We're going maybe actually be able to do it. I'm almost looking. We might be looking at a Geno and DK stack. So if we go Geno and DK Metcalf, that's bare minimum for the defense. Actually, we can't even get the cheapest defense.
Oh, geez.
Okay, so that ain't going to work. So what can we drop? If we drop from Zeke at flex at 5,900, so we have Jacoby Myers at 5,400. He gives us 2 Raiders. I don't know how much I trust that offense.
Right.
Let's see. Don't hate Charbonnet. Go Waller. Go double tight end. Oh, there's Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch actually would give us the other side of that game. So if that Seattle-Arizona game pops off, we got Geno and DK on the Seattle side with Greg Dortch coming back. That would actually open up some money. So let's drop Zeke to Dortch. 3,300 for a defense.
Oh, you have Metcalf in. I was say, how's Dortch? I forgot you had Metcalf in.
The Chiefs. We got the Raiders. If we play the Raiders
defense. Oh, you got Geno quarterback. I got you.
Yeah, if we go with the Raiders defense, we have correlation then because we got the Vegas defense with the Vegas running back.
Right.
So that would go there. So if we went Raiders, it'd be Geno Smith, Rachaad White, Zamir White, Justin Jefferson, Christian Kirk, DK Metcalf, Tucker Kraft, Greg Dortch, and the Raiders defense. Which I don't hate that.
Where's the Raiders at? How much? Oh, they're 3,300. They're up.
Yeah,
okay.
That maxes out. That leaves $0.00 US
I like that
on the table. Well, let's lock it in.
And you're certain on Kirk playing, right?
They said so.
Yeah.
Appears likely to be activated off injured reserve. So this will be the lineup, but let's say for some reason Kirk is not activated. What I would say is pivot from Kirk. Ooh, that's a big jump. That's a big jump to Slayton, though.
Yeah, it's $1,000. Yeah.
Let's see if we got any other. Well, I would move Dortch up into receiver. Then you get 3,000 at the flex, and that'll open up a little bit more. All right, so if we went up a little bit, Jalen Hyatt. So there's Conklin. You could take $300 off your defense, throw Conklin in there, and go double tight end. that after Conklin, I'd probably be trying to get up. I'd be okay with DJ Chark too at 3,700, or get to Darius Slayton at $4,000 and drop the defense accordingly. That's pretty much what you'd have to do. But I expect that he'll play. So let me just throw Kirk in the flex. And that'll be it. So that'll be the Week 18 lineup. Geno Smith, Rashad White, Zamir White, Justin Jefferson, Greg Dortch, DK Metcalf, Tucker Kraft, Christian Kirk, and the Raiders defense. Bob, let everyone know they can find you and what you have at your own site.
Yeah, Big Guy Fantasy Sports. Don't forget, check us out. Baseball stuff will be coming soon, so make sure you check all that out. We'll be updating our stuff for that. And, of course, always find me on Twitter at Bob_Lung.
And I am at Colby R. Conway over on X. I'm not sure if we'll do the consistently cash in the playoffs. We'll see. So this might be the last time we see you. So if anything, thank you for playing along with us in Week 18. Hopefully you were consistently cashing. We know we put out a lot of good lineups. Hopefully you were able to. If you couldn't play every week, you picked the right weeks, hopefully. But we enjoy everyone who listened and hung out with us here. So find me on X at Colby R. Conway. And if we don't see you for the playoffs, we will see you later on this year in 2024. Adios.
Take care.